The WNBA has no idea what it's doing with Caitlin Clark. Can we all agree on that? They have no idea. It's a hostile league to Caitlin Clark. It's a hostile league to heterosexual women. It's a hostile league to a biblical worldview. We've seen, long before Caitlin Clark, we've seen WNBA players run out of that league because they're heterosexual. They've complained in the media like, woo, this league, it don't like us. I'm heterosexual, and I faced a lot of pressure. If this were going the opposite direction, if there was a league being run that was over the top, hostile towards gays, the LGBTQ crowd, this would be a major story day after day, week after week. It would be in all the news cycles. And look, 20 years ago, yes, you could be homophobic in sports. Now you can't. If you drop the F-bomb anywhere in any of these leagues, you're fined thousands of dollars. You can't, again, what is allowed in the WNBA towards heterosexual women, and this is by design. This is the problem with Caitlin Clark and why they're trying to demonize Caitlin Clark. Go all the way back to Augusta National in 2003 and Martha Burke. And what I've told you about that, their argument was at that time, oh God, if you don't have women in this golf course, they just don't have access to men of power. And I called BS on that in real time. I was like, what do you mean they don't have access? These men have wives to answer to. They have daughters to answer to. They have nieces. They have grandparents. They have their mother to answer to. Women have access to men in power. They don't need to be in our locker room and in our clubs to have access to men in power. But if you hate men, if you hate heterosexual men, if you don't want anything to do with them, and you want to be hugged up with your boo, your female boo, yes, you need to involve yourselves and pretend to be a man and join a man's club. That's what this has always been about. That's why the WNBA tries to mimic the NBA. And it hasn't worked. Women pretending to be men on the basketball court hasn't worked. Caitlin Clark shows up, looks like the girl next door, no tats, shoots the basketball in an exciting way, spreads and shares the basketball in an exciting way, and all of a sudden there's a momentum behind her and the league has relevancy. But the league has never made a dime. Won't make a dime this year, despite the Caitlin Clark effect. The league has been hostile to Caitlin Clark. It's been hostile to Caitlin Clark fans, calling them the biggest problem, and everybody, when these teams are getting eliminated from the playoffs, regular season ending, everybody's got to make a statement. Alyssa Thomas, who's engaged to the other, Dewana Bronner or whatever, her teammate, comes out and makes a statement. Oh, these Indiana Fever fans, there's been nothing like it. That's all BS. It's all BS. Like, oh, there was no trolling. It's been so terrible because Caitlin Clark's there. Brittany Griner. Oh, God, what I went through. People calling me the N-word and slurs at games. There's no proof of any of this. What there is plenty of proof of is that the WNBA has been the angriest, bitterest league in the history of sports. Their fan base and their players are angry and bitter and do nothing but whine and complain. I'm going to give you the proof. There is some man who goes by the name of Dolores. He goes by the name of Dolores. Maybe his real name's Micah. I read this, but he goes by the name of Dolores. He's BFF with Asia Wilson, one of the biggest whiners and criers, the girl that set on preaching white privilege to Kelsey Plum, the alleged best player in the league, the one that they've hyped up. Dolores, this man who runs around pretending to be a woman, someone on social media busted him out as the biggest troll in the WNBA. He runs around blasting any and everybody that has anything remotely negative to say about A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson's BFF found pictures of him hugged up with Don Staley at games. Don Staley calling this man Dolores. Here's a tweet I found of Don Staley hugged up with that man who calls himself Dolores. Happy birthday to whatever the guys, as I said it, you are truly a gift to us. Keep being you and don't let anyone but us tell you otherwise. Love you, Dolores. This is what this league is about. Men pretending to be women, women pretending to be men. This is where the hostility towards Caitlin Clark and her fans is coming from, because Caitlin Clark's fan base is mostly heterosexual. Nope, go back. I want to read some Dolores tweets. This is one of Dolores's tweets, or whatever his name is. You presented this picture to the world willingly, like your forehead not pumped up from your N-word teabagging your ugly ass. You're the epitome of a butt-her-face ass bitch. The herpes above your tits, I would think, are enough, but sitting in bed with your outside clothes is nasty. This is Dolores. This is A'ja Wilson's BFF. Don Staley loves Dolores to death. This is who is the heart of the WNBA culture that is hostile to Caitlin Clark, and they want to frame Caitlin Clark fans and Caitlin Clark as the racist and the problem. Here's another Dolores tweet. So while you keep patting your PUSSY to my pictures, just remember that you're not loved, because if you were, your friends would have told you to keep that shit on Snapchat. I never needed a Twitter chat to talk shit. You can assemble your best fake profiles and still won't hold me, I think is. This is Dolores. Here's another. The weak-ass velvet corset and a spaghetti strap underneath, bitch, grow the F up. Don't nobody do that no more, and find a bra, because the way my ass sits and your tits fall is quite embarrassing. Caitlin Clark fans are the problems. This person has been identified by WNBA fans as the trashiest, most classless person on social media, trolling. This is what she's writing to other WNBA players. But they want to say that basically the heterosexual Caitlin Clark fans, they brought this toxicity to the WNBA. No, the league is toxic. Many of the players are toxic. The culture is toxic. Their leader, Don Staley, is toxic. We need a league of our own. We need a league built around Caitlin Clark. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.